Well, let's step aside so we can bring in our guest who is standing by. National trial attorney Michael Jaafar here to help us break down what we're seeing in the case against Monica Cementilli. Michael, I have to get your reaction not only to this detective on the stand, but the witness that he is testifying about, Christopher Austin, who already testified. This jury heard him for 3 days. Do you think the state could have made their case without Christopher Austin?
You know what? I don't think so. I think they've already made a great case. That's a great question. I didn't think about it. I mean, perhaps because the state hates Monica Cementilli, and we went on for weeks and weeks and weeks with testimony of people who have basically put this conspiracy together. They've put it together where Monica Cementilli did a terrible, unsubtle job of covering her tracks. So maybe they could have, because they've made Monica Cementilli into the person where she laid chocolate morsels all the way to the bonfire, and then the investigators followed her. They caught her by the bonfire with graham crackers and marshmallows, and she told them, "I'm not making s'mores." And basically, they've showed that to the jury, right? That she was very unsubtle about this. So maybe they could have made their case, but they had to bring in Austin. Think about it. Austin is a big witness, and he's going to counteract Baker. And I think that this witness that they have on right now is important, because what this witness is doing is kind of lending credibility, kind of like, for lack of a better word, rehabilitating Austin's credibility to the jury. I think this witness was important, but could they have made their case without Austin? That's a tough one, but we'll never know the answer, right? Because they brought in Austin. And so this is the choice they've made. I think they've made a great case. I think with Austin, maybe even without Austin, they could have made a great case, but I think they've made a great case with Austin.
Yeah, they were ready to move forward without him.
They didn't even have him for 6 years.
Yeah, and they were ready to go to trial without him, but they have him. So let's get a break. We'll get you back into the courtroom for more of this detective on the stand in the case against Monica Cementilli.
Let's bring in national trial attorney Michael Jaafar to talk about some of these new issues. And Karen Reed, we know where you stand on the Karen Reed case, Michael Jaafar, firmly aligned with the prosecution in this case. But this habeas corpus this habeas request that they have filed with the feds, meaning the federal court could weigh in and have a different ruling on those 2 counts. That we've even heard a juror come publicly out and say, we found her not guilty of leaving the scene and of second-degree murder. So we could be in a real battle for time in this case, where we could get a federal decision right at the same time that we are picking a jury in this retrial.
You know, I was asking myself last week, do I think that this trial is still going to go forward on April 1st? I don't know, right? This is the part of the case when everybody wants to get along. The prosecution, the defense, everybody's kind of going along because they know that the knives are going to come out when trial starts, right? But not so much with the Karen Reed case. This case has defied logic and has kind of defied the laws of physics in the jurisprudence arena, right? So I don't know if it's going to move forward. Yeah, we could get a federal decision. I don't think we will. In my experience, the federal court does not come down, especially this whole thing, this whole habeas thing of double jeopardy. It's been weighed in. It's been ruled on already in the state courts. I don't think any federal court's going to come in and say, you know what, double jeopardy applies. She's already been adjudicated as not guilty. But the jurors just didn't know how to check off the boxes at the end of the trial. Give me a break, right? I understand.
Well, they didn't. I mean, that is what happened. The juror that was on with Vinny last night, he said, yeah, we put our hands up, we voted. It was unanimous on those top 2. And he said, yeah, we were just didn't realize we were supposed to check a form that wasn't completely
We thought it was all or nothing.
Yeah, we thought we had to come
there.
there. So, I mean, it is a unique set of circumstances. If you're on the other side of that, you're like, come on, this is they came to a verdict. They listened to all of the testimony. They came to not guilty verdicts on the top 2.
Here's why I never bought that argument. And I agree with you that they are saying that, but I never agreed that was credible. I'll tell you why. Because this trial was so big, it was so long, and when they came back the first time, and I think the second time, with they couldn't come to a unanimous conclusion, the judge sent them back twice. When he sent them back twice, the third time they still came back, right? I don't believe that in that confusion that they missed it 3 times, that they needed to check off the boxes wrong. I know that juror said that, but there's credible information on the other side that wasn't the case, and the jurors were not unanimous on it, right? This was a true hung jury. I just don't believe that all the jurors were unanimous. That's just because none of us were in the room, right? That's what that one juror says. But that Judge Beverly can only send them back.
Why not bring them all
times.
back? Why not
I
say
don't-
everybody get back here? It's going to take a half an hour. Let's get the answers.
Yeah, that's a way of doing it, right? But I feel like if that was credible, it would have happened. I don't believe Judge Beverly Canoni wants to keep this trial open, keep this case open above and beyond any other procedural remedy to kick out 2 of the 3 claims. I just don't believe it. It would make her life a lot easier. It would make the conspiracy whole allure of a conspiracy hoax a lot smaller, because this trial is different, Ted. It had the allure of conspiracy 13 months before the first trial even started, right? So I just don't believe that this is all happening because one juror believes, hey, you know what, we were unanimous. Jurors say all kinds of things. He's not going to be a juror in the second trial, right? So we have no idea about his motivations and what he's saying. But I just don't believe this has been looked into by the state, and the state is really embarrassed by this case, and they're very, very upset with Karen Read, and they know that the whole world is watching them and pointing the conspiracy finger at them. There's no way that is true, and the state is going along and covering it up. I don't believe it.
Well, the court definitely did not put it on the record, so there's nothing for them to go on. We have all these different media reports and people who have talked to these jurors, several saying that it was unanimous, but not on the record in court, which is the problem.
Yep.
But Michael Jaafar, we've got to leave it there. Thank you for your analysis.